Hello and welcome to Home with Sarah Jane. In today's video, I wanted to share the books that I have chosen for my 6th graders, independent readers for the new homeschool year. So if you are new here, hello and welcome. My name is Sarah and I'm a homeschooling mom to 2 girls ages 11 and 14. And if you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for stopping by once again. I do really appreciate you. So today is all about Lydia's independent readers. And there's a couple of things that I wanted to mention before we get started, and that is that I changed my mind. Again, I originally was not going to be assigning her any independent readers because we do so much reading already. We have family read-alouds that we do together. I have read-alouds that I do just with Lydia, and then she has assigned readers that go with her language arts. Now, usually I give her free range on what she reads, or we call it her fun reading, which all reading to me should be fun. So I don't like to say that, but that's what my kids call it, is their fun reading, the books that they choose. Well, this year, again, like I said, I changed my mind because with Lydia going into the 6th grade, I wanted to have a little bit more structure to her day. Not that we can't enjoy, a random book every now and again, but I wanted to kind of start prepping her for what's to come as she gets older. And this is something that we can work on while she's going through middle school to prep her more for high school. And I know it sounds kind of silly to think about it when she's just starting the 6th grade, but Lydia was a struggling reader for a long time, and it was only last year that she really started to build up that confidence and really enjoy reading. So I wanted to make sure that I wasn't going to kind of like set us back in that. So these books that I chose, well, we kind of chose them together. I'll explain that in a minute. But these books that we chose, they're not long books. These are like early chapter books. And I did that on purpose because I wanted to make sure that the books that I was assigning to her were, for one, books that she was interested in reading, and another, weren't going to overwhelm her. Lydia gets very overwhelmed when there's a lot of words on a page. Sometimes if the book is just really thick, you could see it on her that she gets stressed out and she gets, she almost feels defeated, I guess you can say. And so it's not always necessarily like the content in the book. It may not be the words are too hard. It may not be, I can't read this sentence, or I don't remember what I'm reading. It's not like that for Lydia anymore. It was like that before, but it's not like that anymore. Right now, when she looks at a book and it's like 500 pages and it's really thick, you can see she gets uncomfortable. You can see that she's starting to feel overwhelmed, and I did not want that to happen. So I purposely chose below grade level books for her that are early chapter books. So I did just want to point that out to you. So if you were looking for books that are more like 6th grade level, that's not going to be this one. I mean, I guess the Who Was books that I share with you can be, but like the chapter books, the early chapter books and readers like that, it is below 6th grade level. But again, I did that on purpose because I want her to get that confidence. I want her to build her confidence and to be able to look at a book and read a book and not feel like she's struggling and not feel like it's overwhelming. Again, we're focusing on loving reading and confidence in reading. So that is why these books are below grade level. So I just kind of wanted to mention that before we got started. Another thing I wanted to mention is that I did base all of her books off of her history this year. So I went through her history book. I pulled a couple of, time frames and things that were happening. And I went to my home library. I pulled a whole bunch of books off the shelf, and I let Lydia choose 10 of them. So she did still have a say in what she was reading. Again, whole bunch of books I pulled off my shelves, and I just let her go through and pick 10 of them. So these were chosen by both myself and Lydia. Now let's jump right into the books. So the first book is Where is the Parthenon? Oh, I also wanted to mention that some of these like Who Was, Where Was books that I'm going to share with you, we have read before. Not all of them, but some of them. And I'm totally okay with that, because a lot of the time when we've read like a Who Was book or a Where Was book, it was something that I read to my kids. So using this as an independent reader, I'm totally fine with. I don't care that they hear the same book because she's getting it in a different way. She's going to be the one reading it. So the first one is Where is the Parthenon? We also chose A Grain of Rice. Again, super short to make it more convenient for Lydia. So this one, it says, It takes a clever man to win the hand of a princess. When a humble farmer asks for the hand of the emperor's beautiful daughter, the emperor is enraged. Who ever heard of a peasant marrying a princess? Again, this is actually a pretty classic story, and I'm really glad that she picked this one because we are going to be studying ancient China this year, so this just seems like a lot of fun. She also chose Where is the Great Wall? Again, ancient China. This will be fun. I can't remember if I read this one or not. We read so many. I have so many of these books. I have so many of these books I could never keep track of what I've read. I'd have to go back and look at my logs, and I didn't do that. So again, we may have read this one, may not have, but this year Lydia is going to be reading it as an independent reader. Next up, we have A Lion to Guard Us. Now, this one is about Amanda had to grow up very fast. 3 years ago, her father left for the new colony of Jamestown in America, thousands of miles away, leaving his family behind. After the death of their mother, Amanda finds herself in charge of her 2 young siblings and no one to turn to for help. With so much on her shoulders, Amanda makes a decision. They will cross the ocean to find their father at Jamestown all by themselves. Ooh, this one sounds good. I don't think I've ever read this one, actually. So I'm glad she chose this because I will probably listen to it on Audible at the same time that she reads this so that we can talk about it because I love to read children's books. Does anybody else really love children's books? I do. So I'll probably read this one too. Next up, we have What Were the Salem Witch Trials? My oldest daughter read this one. She found it very interesting, and I think that she had a little bit of an influence on Lydia choosing this one because Bella did say she really liked this one. It's not really an area of history that we went over in detail. Like, we kind of just skimmed the top of the Salem witch trials. So more information for Lydia, so that's fun. Next up, we have The Corn Grows Ripe. Now, this one, it says, when Tigre's when Tigre's father is badly injured in an accident, the family is thrown into turmoil. Who will plant and harvest the corn that they need to survive and to please the Mayan gods? The neighbors have their own fields to tend to, and Tigre's mother and grandmother cannot do it on their own. 12-year-old Tigre has never done a man's work before. Can he shoulder the burden on his own and take his father's place? This book, I've read this book multiple times. And for some reason, Lydia just does not remember it. So she chose this book saying, oh, wow, that sounds great, Mom. And I was like, oh, it does, huh? I was like, do you remember me reading this to you? She goes, no. So I don't know if that's good or bad, but she's going to be using this as an independent reader this year. Next up, we have What Was the Age of Exploration? I wasn't surprised when Lydia chose this one. She really likes to learn about different explorers. So I'm kind of glad that she chose this one. I think she'll really enjoy it. Again, it's just one of the Who Was, What Was series books. So this will be a pretty good one with lots of good information. Next up, we have Pedro's Journal, a voyage. I can't read. Pedro's Journal, a voyage with Christopher Columbus, August 3rd, 1492 to February 14th, 1493. Again, this is one that I'm not surprised that she chose because my kids, for some reason, really like the journal entry style books. They've always enjoyed those. We've read a couple of different ones with this kind of style, so I'm not really surprised she chose this one. And again, it's about exploring, which she loves. So this one, Destination Unknown. Pedro could not have known what adventures lay ahead. His incredible voyage as a ship's boy aboard Christopher Columbus's Santa Maria would bring both danger and excitement. Pedro captured his experience between the pages of a journal. If he did not return alive, perhaps someone, someday, would find it and learn of his incredible journey to the New World. Again, sounds really interesting. I think Lydia will enjoy this one. Next up, we have A Letter to Mrs. Roosevelt. Again, never read this one. It looks familiar. It almost looks like a book I would have read when I was younger, but I do not remember it. Even when I read the back of it, still don't remember anything about it, but it just seems so familiar to me. So if you've read this book, let me know if it's any good, if it's worth me reading it too. Just let me know in the comment section. But with this one, it says, 11-year-old Margot has never been afraid of anything. Her life in Pennsylvania with her mama and papa and her little brother Charlie has always felt secure. But it's 1933 and the Great Depression is changing things for families all across America. Now, my kids did actually dive pretty deep into the Great Depression and the Dust Bowl a couple of years ago. And they found a lot of things back then in that time frame fascinating about how things were and the way that people lived and the struggles and things. So I think that Lydia will enjoy this book based off of what it kind of sounds like. Again, I've never read it. But yeah, so again, another short read, something kind of, you know, simple, I guess you can say. But I think that Lydia will really, really enjoy this one. And then the last one, again, I only chose 10. The last one she chose was What Was the Harlem Renaissance? Again, this is something that I've been trying to read, but just it hasn't been successful. And it's not that we didn't enjoy it. It's just that I never found time for it. I bought this one not too long ago though, so it is fairly new on my shelves, or on my shelf. But yeah, I'm pretty glad she chose this one because I'll probably read it right after she reads it or either right before, just so that I kind of, you know, can talk to her about it. But yeah, so What Was the Harlem Renaissance? Now, I'm not going to sit there and make her read any of these in order from like time frame or anything like that, from when they happened in history. I'm just going to kind of let her pick up a book and read it. So do keep in mind, though, that she does have other readers, and we will probably add to this list. I just kind of want to start gentle and start slow and start small when it comes to assigning her these books. So that is everything for today. If you have any questions, please leave it in the comment section. Thank you so much for stopping by. You have a great day. Bye.